Hello everyone, we're back to darkness for these live streams, I'm afraid, because it is very dark here in the UK, so it's a lamp in the background. Hopefully you can see me all right. And we can't really use the main light because it gets the birds all agitated until we can change the bulbs. Hope all of you are doing well and have had a pleasant festive period. Today, the topics are mostly going to be talking about hormones and how they get the unfair blame for an awful lot of stuff. Sometimes when it's not actually hormones' fault. We're talking a little bit about overstimulation, a bit about parrot training. I'll be answering any questions you guys have live, getting the birds out a little bit, and then just seeing how things generally go. So what's been going on recently? As I said, I hope you guys had a very pleasant festive period. Ours wasn't so good due to a variety of reasons, sadly. Exploding bottles. Beyond that, I can't say because I'm under an NDA now, as pathetic as that is. I was unwell as well, which wasn't very pleasant, and just generally lots of stuff happened that wasn't so nice. What can you do, really? The flock are generally doing well, although sadly Kipling did hurt his foot recently. But luckily, we managed to take him to a local vet for a change rather than 1 mile away, and it doesn't turn out to be anything serious. And he absolutely loves taking his medication. I don't know if you've seen on Instagram or Discord, for those of you on there. The little ones, Kipling actually really likes his medication because it's Metacam, and that stuff has got quite a pleasant sweet taste. So he's had syringe training as well from both of us. So he's actually excited to take his meds, and he really enjoys taking them, which is quite nice because a lot of people talk about how much difficulty they have with their parrots taking their meds. So to have such a pleasant experience is good. I mean, even Olive was fussier with the same medication. We had to sort of soak it on little tiny bits of seed or millet, or even little bits of like pitta to get her to take it. It's a bit of an exception. We don't really allow human food, but we thought we'd make an exception for meds. But yeah, he's really doing well. So yeah, it's been a bit troublesome recently, but what can you do? So hello to everyone who's joined the chat. It's very nice to see you. Hi, Mr. Teeny. Hi, Klaus. Hi, Smitter. Hi, Lessamore. Lisa. It's great to see all of you in the chat. And any of you have any questions, then Sophie will be calling them out to me or responding to you in the chat. Hello, Rose, as well. So let's start talking about our first topic of today, which is hormones. Now, hormones get a lot of conversation. They cause a lot of trouble. They also get quite an unfair rap sometimes. Now, a lot of the time, hormonal behaviour in parrots is an undesirable behaviour, especially from our perspective. It's also a natural behaviour most of the time. And there's a caveat there, which I'll talk about later. You know, parrots will get hormonal in the wild. Parrots will get hormonal because it's a natural part of their breeding cycle. It's something they do. However, in the home environment, which isn't really a natural environment for them, no matter how much we'll argue about it, hormones are often not ideal. And they're not ideal for us humans because they lead to undesirable behaviours which we don't like to see. For example, excessive biting, nesting behaviours, mating, territorial behaviour. The list just goes on, screaming. And it's not ideal for them often a lot of the time. Some people say, oh, I'll just let my bird breed, I'll just let them do it because it's natural. Yeah, but it's not natural here in our home environment. And that's the problem that a lot of people face. They encourage hormonal behaviour and then they wonder why it causes them trouble later. But that is just a sort of overview of hormones before I talk into the main topic. Hormonal behaviour often gets blamed for things that aren't actually hormonal behaviour, or that are things that we are doing wrong rather than our parrots. Apart from seasonal variances or extreme changes in behaviour and patterns, hormones often aren't the bird's fault. They're not something that they do. The bird's probably really noisy today as well, by the way. Please forgive me. I've seen a couple of interesting questions as well, so I'll sort of respond to them in a second while I finish while Sophie tries to deal with the screaming. They're normally quiet for my live stream, so I suppose today they just want to make things a bit more difficult.
Do you want me to come in to read questions?
It's up to your choice. Up to you entirely.
I'll come in then.
So regardless, anyway. So hormones get blamed when there's not really hormonal behaviour. When you talk about hormonal behaviour, often you have this massive scale that the bird has to experience before they get to a hormonal state. And every time that hormonal trigger is introduced, that scale tips further and further towards a hormonal bird. So say, for example, on this side where you've got my hands flapping around, you've got a non-hormonal parrot that's just happy, lovely, content. And then the further it goes over, you've got a hormonal, like anger bird, rage bird, who wants to attack everything and mate with everything. So to get that tail skip, that scale tipped, it takes quite a lot of little factors. For example, inappropriate petting. For example, excessive fat in the diet. For example, not enough sleep. For example, in some rare cases, too much sleep. We've learned recently. For example, allowing access to nesting behaviours, behaviours where they're doing naughty things against things, and slowly that scale tips all the way over there into a hormonal parrot. And most of the time, individual aspects of their behaviour that we label as hormones aren't hormonal behaviour or are caused by us in the first place. It's often due to our husbandry mistakes at home that we see hormonal birds. For example, like inappropriate petting is one of the biggest ones we see often, or the excessive feeding, which can be done through a modicum of diet management, which we can do at home. Or, for example, we talk about things contributing to hormones, but when we talk about other stuff as well, for example, screaming, often people automatically assume that screaming is down to hormones. The same with biting or territorial behaviour. And sometimes it's just not hormonal behaviour. It's something else that we're doing or something else in the environment that's causing those behaviours. So it's so important not to immediately label things as hormones, to look at the sort of stuff we're doing as bird parents and see if we're contributing to the hormonal behaviour, or saying that it's not actually hormones and maybe something else is doing it. We had a case for screaming recently, consult-wise, and the owner immediately labelled it as hormones. They said, "Oh, my parrot's hormonal, it's screaming." Okay, so we had a look at the sort of evidence, and there was some evidence to suggest that, but it turned out the screaming was actually due to a fear response. And if the person or us had not looked at that properly and just assumed that it was hormonal behaviour and it wasn't a fear response, that would never have been fixed, and that parrot would still be fearful, scared, and worried because we would be looking at fixes for hormonal behaviour. So I guess the point of this monologue, because I didn't bother to write any notes today, so that's probably why it's not as structured as normal, it's been quite busy, is don't always label everything as hormones. It can be, and it can be something we're contributing to, but look at other factors as well for negative behaviours, because those negative behaviours could be being caused by something completely different, and that can be overlooked by simply saying this is hormones, because we can't just do that every single time. Sometimes it's us, sometimes it's something else, but it's not always hormones. What do you think of that little rant?
I agree. It's very easy, but also at the same time, it can be hormones.
It can be hormones, but again,
it's not hormones. But
yeah, you have to sort of look at everything. So while I've sort of done that, let's have a look at. No, I'll just have a quick look and catch up on Soho one. So I see Lisa's been watching your videos. Hello, Moonlight. Hello, Carrie. I haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Hello, your Hangout pal. Hello, Helen. Have I missed anyone?
Gina.
Hi, Gina. Welcome.
Can't forget Gina.
Oh,
dear.
I'll be getting some birds out in a minute. I think they're going to need to come out. Otherwise, it's going to be noisy.
So Neve has the first question.
Neve Quinn. Hi. Just a question. I got an ex-breeding cockatiel over the festive period. He's lovely, but obsessed with my feet to the point of attacking. Any advice? Did I do a video on attacking the feet? So, Neve, I actually have a video on cockatiels attacking feet. Parrots in general. The problem with birds attacking feet is it tends to be a similar thing to why they attack hands. And feet, for some reason, are very appealing to parrots. The obvious solutions are not letting your parrot near your feet, hiding your feet in socks, hiding your feet in slippers if they're biting, and trying to redirect their behaviours. Those are the first sort of ports of call. If there is some hormones because they're ex-breeding related, addressing those. But yeah, redirection from your feet where possible with high-value treat, not letting them near it, wearing socks and wearing slippers, because it is fairly common problem with parrots, and they do seem very appealed. And also the other thing is, when a parrot goes for feet, especially bare feet, we immediately react. We draw that foot away, we and make little noises, and that's reinforcing for our parrots. So it's kind of a self-reinforcing thing if we keep reacting in that manner. So it's really important, if your parrot does go for your feet, to try not to react and just try and redirect them elsewhere to not make it a game and exciting for them. Yeah, Gina, a squirt would attack my feet and laugh. Yes, it's not good, because sometimes we encourage it because we laugh and we think it's funny. I've seen lots of TikTok videos where that sort of behaviour is encouraged. Then later on you see, oh, my parrot's biting me now and drawing blood. And it's not ideal, really. You have to be kind of careful with it.
Next question.
What army did I play?
Yeah, Mr. T's asking that.
Was that a while back?
Yeah.
That was Marines. I'm getting a bit annoyed with Games Workshop and their behaviour recently, honestly, due to various reasons. Didn't order, which hasn't been said, and they refused to give money back. Their stuff with the old world was terrible as well, and they're just milking people. Yeah, what can I say? Your Hangout pal, are budgie hormones triggered differently than other parrots? I wouldn't say so. I'd say their triggers are very similar to most other birds. There's a couple of situations where that would be different.
Some of the things that are slightly different is because they're like year-round breeders and because they
like cockatiels as well.
Yeah, so with them and cockatiels, they can be triggered by something we've learned recently, haven't we? Is like excessive water and the sound of running water, because obviously they come from quite dry areas. So sometimes the presence of water can trigger, okay, it's safe to breed. And also too much sleep sometimes with budgies can be.
Yeah, like what I mentioned. So yeah, basically excessive overabundance. So overabundance of any resource, be that sleep, rest, because they're relaxed and they're happy. Overabundance of water, so you said overabundance of food. But generally the triggers, apart from those specific examples, are very similar to other parrots. It's just, you can't really manage water. They have to have water. But just be mindful if you see them behaving in a certain way when there's constant water running in your house. For example, there was a case of someone with one of those fountains who could be running constantly, and that was a hormonal trigger for their budgie. It's something me and Sophie are actively trying to research and learn a little bit more about, because at the start of this video, okay?
I just slipped. Did anyone see me slip on the line?
As at the start of this video, hormones are such a big topic, and knowing when it is hormones, when it's not, and what causes them is going to be very helpful to us to help you guys. More specific videos on that in the future. So from Helen, hi, thanks, dear, thank you. Yeah, Kipling's doing fine as well. I would just say, yeah, so Sophie saw that as well. So hello, I thought it was a question. Hello to everyone.
Noisy birdies, aren't you?
It's snowing, blimey. No snow here, just the usual miserable British weather. My cake likes to surf on my slippers. Kites do seem to love that, Rose. They're very charming birds. If we didn't have so many, I'd be interested in getting one. Hello, Laura. Welcome.
Chi Bean. Welcome. Here's the.
Yeah, let's have a quick before I. Okay. Do you want to go on my head and behave yourself up there for a second? No problems, Neve. I'm happy to answer any questions. That's what we do. So, Laura, could conures or any parrots oversleep, and how many hours would be too much sleep? So we actually just sort of discussed this a little bit, because there's some research to indicate that too much sleep can be a trigger. And one of the first ports of call for most parrot trainers when they're looking at sleep is looking at too little sleep. So the general, I would not argue the general guideline of about 12 hours, give or take, because that seems to be a sensible amount of sleep. Sometimes we recommend slightly more when you're trying to break out hormones, but I would aim for between the 11 to 12 hour mark and keep that consistent. If your parrot's getting lots more and you are noticing some aberrant behaviours, then you can reduce it slightly to maybe the 11 mark, but any less than that and you are going to see the same problem. Again, it's more research to be had on that. I'm afraid we need to look at it a bit more ourselves. It does depend on the bird as well, the species of the bird. For example, the budgies with the sleep thing.
If anyone's wondering why there's like dust flying around the screen, it's because the birds are flying around.
Yeah. Mr. Teeny, it's often more complicated than just putting a label. See my recent fixed research. Yes. And us humans, a bit of human psychology, we want to slap a label on a problem, we want it fixed, and that's it. And it's very easy to fall into that trap because that's just what we do as humans, and that's what we want to do. You know, I'm guilty of this as well. I want to slap a solution, a label on a problem. I want to identify it, I want to solve it, and I want to move on to the next one. And it's just not that simple, especially not with parrots. Very complex animals, probably one of the most complex to keep in the house successfully and effectively and you know, happily. And you know, it's also easy to do it. And with, I'm afraid to say, with YouTube, it's even more. It pushes people in that direction because you want to produce a video that helps people and solves problems that people actually watch as well. You end up almost inadvertently forcing yourself into label slapping and doing that. And we try not to. It's probably why we get less views than other channels, because we want to solve problems. But yeah, it's never that easy. Mr. Teeny, it's a very good point. The whole picture, the holistic approach is so important. So hang up, pal. I wouldn't say don't use that water fountain. Just observe. I did a video on observation, how important it is, you know, and that's one very easy thing we can all do as bird owners. Just observe our parrots, watch them, and figure out what the causes of their problems are and how we can solve them. It's just, it makes it much easier, you know. What have we got here then? The boys, yeah, the boys. Oh, Chili Bee.
He's just sitting behind me.
He's just literally sat behind my back in the darkness.
Can we try this? Because it's really obvious, like dust flying about. We're not living in like a kind of dusty area, but because the lamp is right by the laptop.
Trying to treat little man. Hello. Poor little boy, just sitting behind me. The light quality's not going to be as good, I'm afraid, guys, because we've had to move the lamp. What can we do? Yeah. What else have we got? Hello, Gina from the boys. Do any of our parrots feet gaze? One that looks at, so we call it foot checking. So yes, all parrots foot check. I'm not quite sure why. It's another video there. They love looking and peeking. Sydney, that's lots of chickens. Cute. So Laura, my guys are 10 to 12. When my black cat was sleeping home, I increased it, but I felt like it was worse. So yeah, so observe, and it's great that you pick up on it, because a lot of the time you guys as parrot owners will know what's best. And I'm not saying that, obviously everyone's an expert, but just observation and seeing, well, I'm doing this, so I recommend this, but this is making it worse. Maybe I need to take a different approach, or maybe I need to ask someone, can I do this? Because we, again, as humans, like to get the easy solution and like to get the answer and say, well, that person said this is fine, so I'm going to do this. And it's also easy to fall into that trap. What do you want? What do you want?
Say hello.
You know, saying, you sing to everyone. So there, what I was just doing for one bird would potentially trigger hormonal behaviour or a bite or anything. For fish, because I know him well, that's just playful behaviour for him. His tongue clicking is generally playful and not hormonal, so I can get away with it. It's a good, perfect example there. With Chip, I don't do it as often because it wouldn't give me the best result. Hello, Adara, welcome. Lisa, yeah, they do love doing it, don't they? So, Carrie, don't I know it? I thought my cockatiels were complicated, but I have a new flock member who's teaching me how complex parrots can be. Yeah, they're just so complex, and that's one of the best things about them. They're so adorable, they're so complex, they're so intelligent. But it's one of the best things, and also the biggest drawback about their little guys. It's what we love about them, what we find so frustrating. So Mr. T's asking Carrie, so there's not me to respond. So anyway, just if you just joined, welcome to everyone who's just joined the live. Nice to have you here for the first live of the year. All you've missed is a conversation about hormones, how we are often to blame for hormonal behaviour, and we need to sort of think about what we're doing to contribute to it, and how also negative behaviour isn't always down to hormones. And sometimes we label stuff, we just slap a label of hormones on something, and then sometimes we actually miss the true cause of the behaviour, the problem. I used the screaming example from a consult we had where it was assumed it's hormones, when in reality it was a fear-based response. And you can see the same with biting behaviours and territorial sometimes. It's not always hormones, so don't always label it as such. Very important. Oh, wow, green ring macaw. That's a big one to take on. I hope they're getting well with you. It's quite cute as well. Yeah, please do send some photos or show us when you get the opportunity somewhere. So King Seth Bird, green cheek conure repeatedly beaks under stainless steel bowl. Doesn't matter if bowl moved elsewhere. Redirect or leave room for him to stop. He seems high and not sure how to prevent it. So you will see green cheek conures reactive to stainless steel bowls, especially the reflective non-brush steel ones, the ones where they're actually reflective. Your solutions, you can redirect, you can try and ignore the behaviour, you could replace them temporarily with plastic bowls.
You can show.
So, for example, if you see that cage where my finger is just pointing near to Chip's head, we've actually recently had to swap out. Do you want petty pets? No, you just want to be naughty. We had to swap out Scampy's bowls because he was doing just that. He loves tipping the bowls. He finds it very rewarding, very fun. So we've temporarily swapped them out for plastic, and we're going to swap them back in for stainless steel once the behaviour is under control a little bit. So don't be afraid to do that. Right, I've caught up with it. Right, so the next topic I was going to talk about today after hormones was overstimulation. And it's kind of related to the previous point that often overstimulation can be labelled as hormonal behaviour, where our parrots are getting overstimulated due to various stimuli, just stimuli, there you go. And that causes them problems as well. For example, ambient noise, our behaviour again, which is something that we're seeing an awful lot of recently. Both even our own examples, with Charlie, for me, gets overstimulated very easily about me. It's caused by all sorts of factors. And when you see overstimulation, it's best not really to encourage it much. And it's easy to encourage it because it's funny. People enjoy it. Where do you want to go, little man? Do you want to go up there? It's easy to encourage it because some people find it funny and it's quite cute when they get overexcited, when parrots vocalize and do all sorts of things in there. And it's very easy to also encourage it during training sessions. I think it's something I covered in the previous live, where if you're doing a training session and you get heightened and excited, your parrot will match your energy and your mood. And sometimes that can lead to overstimulation problems. I mean, I literally just did a video on Patreon about training in silence. and how that can be advantageous in certain situations, and how if you do train in silence, it can be useful to you as a bird trainer. Not all the time, because there's some pitfalls I mentioned in the video too, but how you can prevent it. So overstimulation is another one of those things where we see it constantly with parrots in consults. As I said, in our own examples as well, and it's something to be mindful of with your parrot during training, during interactions. I won't go as far as a certain other big YouTuber who says that every interaction should be a training session, because the more I analyze that particular soundbite, the more I find it is just a soundbite and it's not really holding up to scrutiny. But it is important to be mindful of your interactions and that you don't get your parrot overstimulated constantly, because then it's almost like another scale. So let's go back to screaming. Let's go back to that scale example. You've got a bit of overstimulation, and that's not really causing much problem. Maybe a bit of excess vocalization, maybe a nip here or there, and then you're constantly encouraging it, and until that scale tips all the way over here, and you're seeing a repetitive behavior you don't want to see, and you're in trouble. And suddenly you have to, instead of just like maintaining the scale down here, you have to push it all the way back, and that's through mindful training and interactions, which makes things a little bit more challenging for you and your parrot, really, because they've been encouraged to do this behavior. You've encouraged them, not you who's watching this. The person has encouraged this behavior, and then suddenly the parrot's been told, well, that's wrong, you don't want to do it anymore. It's like, if I was encouraged to just do jumping jacks all the time because it's a great source of exercise, and someone walked in and said, it's really bad for you, I'll be like, well, I've been told it's good and I want to carry on. So it's exactly the same for your parrot. They want to carry on doing what they've been encouraged to do, and then we have to stop them doing that. So a quick peek. I don't think there's actually any more questions since I had that next little bit of chat.
I think it was a Stampy. You've got a lot to say for yourself.
Yeah, they'll have to come out give them about 5 minutes and they can come out. Hello, Anne. With regards to identifying genders of cockatiels, I have a video on that. The best tell is normally behaviour. A lot of people disagree with me on that. There's loads of YouTube videos saying, I know my cockatiel's gender because it looks this and looks that. But coloration is very bad tell. You can get a DNA test. That's the most reliable tell, just like the conures, who are even more difficult to tell what's what. But behaviour tends to indicate, because even though there is this occasional female who will sing or replicate whistling, it tends to be a male behaviour. It is exceptionally rare for females to do heart wings unless they're doing it as part of a hissing, fear, nesting response. So behaviour will be your biggest tell with a cockatiel on what gender they are. Parrots and wills, I find whispering and gentle voices help with overstimulation. 100%, 100%. One of the best success stories with using that technique is Scampy, because when Scampy was a rescue, being passed around from house to house, overstimulation encouraged. He came here, he was nipping, he was biting, and he just needed to be taught. And what was great about him is whispering works so well with him even now. Just whisper to him and he starts making these very cute noises. He calms down, he fluffs up, he relaxes. It's a great technique. Just let me stop these ads because I don't really care and I don't want you to see them because they're annoying. So no ads for you. Thank you. So whispering and gentle voices can take that overstimulation level down and tip that scale the other direction. I wish I'd calm things down in Charlie's case today, but it's not really working. Sophie's left the room, so I have to wait till she comes back in the room.
I'm trying to make it quiet.
Right. So she's come back in the room so I can talk again. So yeah, whispering and quiet voices do help. It's not helping that I have to project my voice for this live. I have to be loud. That encourages the exact opposite. Although, again, Scampy and Pickles and the boys have been very well trained with that. Like, I've exposed them to my voice being loud repeatedly. I've actively reinforced them when they're calm around it. And they're really quite a dream to film with most of the time. I don't know if you've seen my videos of Scampy and Pickles or these boys who can fly around sometimes, but they don't nip or anything, don't get overstimulated. It's really, really nice. But yes, whispering really good. So, Carrie, how do you guys handle a flock member who prefers one of you over the other? Again, it's really...
Charlie.
Have you got him to be quiet yet? Or...
I'm trying.
1 second, Carrie. I don't want you to hear screaming rather than me talking. So yeah, I don't know, to those of you on Patreon and Discord, we have mentioned that Charlie has a screaming issue recently. Most of the time it's fine. It's just, again, situational. And right now, it's one of those bad situations. So we're working through it because, again, we say it as well. We're owners and trainers first. We're not on here presenting ourselves as the gods of parrot training. We have our own mistakes to work through and problems. But anyway, Carrie, so yes, is quite a common problem. We have to handle it constantly ourselves. When Scampy first came, he had a massive preference towards Sophie, and Pickles had a massive preference towards me. And generally, the biggest solution for it is putting in training and bonding work, lots and lots of work. And it can take a variable amount of time. There's no real time scale. Like, for example, with Scampy, I had to put a lot of extra training with him. You know, I'd sit with him a lot more. I'd whisper to him. I'd spend more time with him. And that's what kind of redressed that balance a little bit with him. It's called the 60-40 rule, where you want your parrot to have a 60% relationship to one person, 40% to the other. And when it's like 80-20, like 80% one person, 20% the other, that's when there's a problem. And the best way to address that is the other person who's on the 20% doing extra work, you know, even if it's there, if it has to be in-cage training, just sitting next to the bird, passive bonding, whatever they can do to try and move that scale over. Even husbandry tasks can help with that scale. But generally, parrots do show a preference towards one human or another. There are parrots who will love everyone, but as a rule, most parrots will have at least a slight preference towards one human. But again, that can be fixed slightly with sort of like training work, basically. So the boys are going, by the way, you can get the conures out. Yep. So I'm temp fostering a few cockatiels, and one bird, assumed male, is obsessed with another mate. I'm trying to break the obsession, separate cages, and he's very upset, screaming, help. So this could be a case of hormonal behaviour. Did the cockatiels all come to you as one like flock, or are they from separate sources, different locations? Because that could be a thing, you know, if one of them's been solo and they've suddenly been exposed to other cockatiels, they're like, wow, other cockatiels, I want to get involved in this. I want to mate, I want to be involved. That can be a big thing. Separate cages is probably sensible because otherwise there will be problems. It is something you can work on. Most of the time, it's going back to basics. Not going to be a good live today, is it? Hello, TT. Do you want to say hello? I'll cover the second half of that explanation after the Conya's said hello. Cool. Wow. That's your friend. That's your boyfriend you're doing that. Get away for everyone instead. Would rather see some of that behaviour than naughty behaviour, wouldn't we? Thank you. Right, so let's go back. So one flock, yeah, rescue situation, all housed together. So this could be a case of hormones. It could be a case of changing environment. Suddenly everything's changed. They're with you, and that's triggered this behaviour. Generally, the solutions are temporary caging separate if you have to. If there's a, do you want to go up there? Is that what you want? Yes, what you want. Temporary caging separate if there's an anger or aggression issue, that's going to cause some problems. And generally, just working on bonding activities, building tolerance, and also boundaries, reinforcing the behaviour you want to see. And this is a lot of people call this a cop-out explanation, but it really does hold true. When that cockatiel is calm around the other parrot, you reinforce them. When they're not, then they get nothing, and that will help a lot. But I would strongly look into the housing situation, the proximity to the cockatiels, and generally how hormones may be playing a part, because that's when you see that sort of behaviour a lot. Screaming, again, they're screaming because they want to be with them and they can't be with them. Wow, it's absolute chaos today, absolute chaos. Yeah, the realism of living with birds. As I said, normally my live streams go off quite smoothly. I get a little bit of screaming, but I don't know. I think it's one of those days. It's been quite an annoying day in general. So, yeah, what can you do, really? If you have any more questions, please feel free to shoot them in the chat. I only really have one more topic I'll be covering, and then a couple of questions that I already sort of saved for these live streams. If you can even hear me over all of the bad behaviour, come here, little monster. Come here. You come here. He's like,
you're going to help yourself to the sunflowers, please.
Oh, Scampy, not on the keyboard, please. Come here.
Naughty little Scampy. Look, it's so proud of himself.
Yeah, he's proud of himself for scrobbling around everywhere. stole himself a treat and he's well happy.
Look at that smile. You're such a naughty boy. Aren't you? Cute, but naughty.
Shake my hand.
They're getting crumbs everywhere, aren't you?
Are we moving him?
I thought we just had a little Scampy break.
So the last topic I wanted to cover before it's just going to be birdie chaos basically is training. And I talk about training in almost every single live because it's just really important, honestly. I've had arguments. I've had great discussions with other trainers recently. I've had arguments with people saying training is just bad and you shouldn't train your parrot. And it's just like, whatever. But specifically today, I want to talk about overstimulation in training. And just leads on from the other topic, which I covered a little bit. We don't want to be encouraging overstimulation during training. And it's quite easy to do with our reactions. She's nibbling me, thank you. It's quite easy to do with our reactions and the way we train our parrots. You can go up there, but if we see your lovely behind, okay. If we see and encourage it with our parrots during training sessions, you're going to have trouble. So just like parrots on wheels mentioned earlier, just like I sort of mentioned, take the energy level down during some of your training sessions. Even if your parrot isn't really reactive to high energy training sessions, make sure you reserve one session a day to be a lower energy one. It doesn't have to be in silence like I talk about in the Patreon video. You can just be lower energy where you're whispering, you're quiet, you're using verbal cues, maybe even rather not than a clicker, because that's another topic I'll talk about in a second. Just take the energy level down to see what reaction your parrot has to that, because it can be very useful and quite telling. Excuse me, see if we're making training mistakes. One other thing I'd recommend as well is even if your parrot is very well clicker trained, this is something I've sort of started suggesting recently as well, to have a session where you're using verbal cues. Not only does it broaden your sort of repertoire of things you can do and get your parrot to respond to, it broadens their repertoire of things they respond to, and it also tightens up behaviors as well. Even if you're using a clicker for a bridge at one time and you're using your verbal bridge for exactly the same behavior, for example, good, it can make behaviors more consistent. Now, sometimes the caveat for this is there always is a caveat with parrot training. I wouldn't do this right at the start if you're just starting your training journey, your parrot, because it's going to cause confusion. They'll be like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. But later on, when training gets more advanced, when you're sort of at the intermediate level, when your parrot's responding to your training regularly and they are behaving in a certain way that you basically can predict, that's when you can start doing it by mixing up your bridges and also making sure you're having that low energy training session. It's very useful. That was it on that topic, basically. So let me look at the questions, and then once again, I'll just cover the sort of pre-asked questions, if you can call it that. Yeah, Neve is always the chaos everywhere. Smith, did I ask the reply to the feather dust question? I'm sorry.
I sort of alluded to it. Basically, it looked like there was a lot of feather dust floating around, which is why I moved the lamp.
Yeah, basically it's the big lamp. It's not really a feather dust issue. We have our purifier on constantly, and it's always reading very low level. So no, there's not excessive feather dust. It's purely because the boys were flying around right in front of the lamp, and that highlights it all. No. Is there a good place to buy a toy keyboard? I don't know, honestly. If Sophie has any ideas, she can see us.
Currently have a kind of.
That's made out of. The Northern Parrots have one with little cork bits. I would suggest buying a cheap keyboard from Amazon if you want them to just destroy that and then let them wreck that. Obviously, supervised play, of course. Hello, lover pets, welcome. What is your oldest bird? So oldest bird's probably Pickles at about 5 at the moment. Yeah, we've had older birds. I don't really want to talk about that, but yeah, we've had older birds in the past. Yeah. Do you find hormones dwindle with age? It depends on species. Yes, when they get towards the sort of twilight years, you will see hormones reducing and their behavior reducing. But with some prolific breeding species, for example, cockatiels or budgies, you will see them exhibiting hormonal behavior right the way until almost the end of their lifespan. And we want that to be as long a lifespan as possible, which is why, again, we want the hormone behavior to be controlled, because otherwise you will see issues. And when they get older, you will see excessive issues because their bodies will not be able to support the egg production process. Again, not a topic I like. So yeah, yeah, basically. Less and more vulture. My 15-year-old Jende is very randy. He really wants to love. I mean, if it's the season for his love, what do you want? But yeah, maybe it's something to look at as well and try and sort of reduce a little bit because it can cause some problems. Do you want a close up? Do you want to say hello to everyone? Look at her. Look at her face. Look how cute she is. She should be called a yellow cheek, really, because her cheeks are more yellow than green.
We joke she looks like a Quaker sometimes.
Yeah. Do you not think Pickles looks like a Quaker a little bit? I think she looks a little bit like a Quaker. I don't know if it's just wishful thinking. I like Quakers a lot. Adara, I follow a 30-year-old cockatiel. He still gets hormonal. Yeah, they just carry on. They're like the randy old men of the parrot world. They don't stop. You know, you've seen those old men who like their material. A cockatiel is kind of like that, really. King Seth Bird, if the sleep schedule is off for only a few days, can that make a difference to hormones, or would it take more consistency? I would say it would take more consistency. You may see a slight spike, but generally once it settles down, the hormonal behavior will settle down as well. It's when it's consistent triggers that it tends to be problems. The caveat, like with parrots as normal, is when it's a season, for example, when it's breeding season, then you may see it having more of an impact because, again, breeding season is a factor on that scale. So you obviously have breeding season ticking up, then you have a disrupted sleep, and then, the scale starts moving, if that makes sense. I think she's very pretty, Pickles. A lot of people think she's quite muted in her colours, but the closer you look at her, the more sort of beauty you see in her colours, the subtle peaches, the yellows, the greens, even the pinks. She's a very pretty bird. Is she a pineapple morph? This is a question. So a lot of people are obsessed with conure colorations, and for me, I don't even care. Honestly, they're just conures to me, green cheek conures. What would you say?
She is technically a turquoise pineapple.
Turquoise pineapple. I don't see much turquoise on her, just the wingtips maybe, but yeah. All right, so we're almost done with the topics for the day. So then it will just be birdie chaos. I'll try and do some training, maybe live on camera, to make it look like I actually know what I'm doing. So that'll be helpful. And then we just see how things go and then wrap it up when everyone's feels like they're ready. So the pre-asked question. Oh, hello, another question. I'll do this one first then. So Gianni, my 18-year-old son Connie is very hormonal. She sees me as her mate. Laid an egg a couple of months ago. Avery vet checked her out. All is okay. Well, I'm glad she's okay and health-wise. But remember, hormones can be down to us. So if she sees you as her mate, we need to look at the reasons why that is the case. And I'm not saying you can't ever touch her again, or that you're massively to blame and you're a horrible owner or anything. No, please. This is not my point here. My point is you need to sort of analyze. Is there anything you're doing that is making your son Konya more hormonal? Could it be an environmental factor? For example, a cage environment, a happy heart, those are big hormonal triggers. Could it be the way she's cuddling with you constantly? Maybe that needs to be reduced during hormone season. Could it be nesting spaces? Hormones is a big topic. I have some awesome videos. I have a sort of 4-video series on hormones that you can explore, which will hopefully help. I'd recommend watching those. If you really have trouble, drop me a comment. I'll try and help a little bit. But if the stuff in the videos doesn't help or a quick response doesn't help, then generally it is something that needs a consult from us to look into more detail. The fact that you've had a vet checkup is awesome as well, and that she's fine. The fact she will want to cuddle all the time, and a little bit of cuddling is fine. In fact, I just did a video on Konya cuddling, and it's natural and okay. It's the way we cuddle. So let's take Pickles as a perfect example. Pickles at the moment is not really hormonal. She's not displaying any hormonal signs. She likes to cuddle me. She likes to cuddle my eye socket. That's cute. She likes to sit up there, and sometimes she will lay flat on my head because it's comfortable and my hair's going. So it's nice and warm for her. Lovely. She likes to sit there. So if Pickles gets very hormonal, I reduce the amount she's allowed to cuddle because that is a hormonal trigger for her. And sometimes she will laying flat on my head is a trigger. So I will reduce that and let her cuddle in other ways. Or she can cuddle Scampy because that's her cage mate. That's who I want her to be close to. I am her friend. So I want her to see me that way. So that's a perfect example of it. Gina, thank you very much. I can actually heart that, which is nice. Thank you. And to you too, we hope so too. We try our best. We're not really hoping for much, honestly, given the track record for the last couple of years, but you never know, things may be better. We're going to keep on fighting a good fight. We're going to keep on trying and just trying to do the best we can, really, for ourselves, for our flock, and for everyone else we can, really. I'm big into my inverts at the moment as well, so that's kind of like a little ray of light for me, just something different and fun. But thank you very much, Ian. It's very generous of you and very naughty as well. I lost my train of thought there. I was going to do questions, but I was answering Gianni's question. Oh, blimey, another one. Less and more Voltron, thank you. No, thank you. It's a very cute emoji, and thank you very much for joining us today. It's much appreciated. Thank you very much. Join the naughty train, one and then the other. So thank you very much. There are lots of colour mutations for conures. As I said, it doesn't bother me. They're conures, they're green cheeks. As long as they're healthy, they're happy. They could be completely black for all I care, or completely white, or whatever. I just like them. Although, as Sophie disagrees with me, cockatiels are my favourite parrot. Even though we've got so many conures, I like cockatiels most. I just find them so charming.
Because it is.
She's adorable as well. Just because they're my favourite doesn't mean I don't like these guys a lot. Oh, that's cute, Lisa. 34, just 2 little feathers. It's amazing. I love the stories where cockatiels get really old. I just love it. You know, it's just cute. I like any. So it's obviously, I don't want to go on this topic too much because it makes me sad. But it's sad when a parrot goes or any animal goes. But as long as it's had a long, full, happy lifespan, at that point, it's a massive consolation to me. You know, old age is the best for them. Once they reach old age, parrot goes, I'm like, they had a good life, long life, perfect. So Adara, what are some good teas or things to offer if one of the birds is going through a harsh molt? So like specific blends at the moment, I'm not sure I'd recommend any specifically. I mean, obviously we've got like pre-mixed blend in America as well. There's pre-mixed blends by Bird Blends, China Prairie, and here we've got what's her name? Polly's Natural Parrot Boutique, and they have like supporting teas. I'm not going to say caramel because I say it for everything. Or what is it? Calendula is supposed to be Calendula's quite good. See, I actually remembered Calendula is supposed to be quite good for supporting harsh molt. I would also obviously look to support them with a bit of extra supplementation in their diet, for example, a bit of extra protein in their diet, with plain scrambled eggs. But yeah, Calendula is supposed to be very good. Go on Bird Blends, go on China Prairie, go on Polly's if you're in the UK or Europe, and those will give you some inspiration because those are blended by people who actually know what they're doing. For me, I can only give you individual flowers because I don't know how to blend teas, basically. The naughty trade indeed. 2 naughties, Lisa. Yes. Your hangout, pal. I'm glad you're getting something from it. To me, it feels quite chaotic. I must admit, I'm like, but you know, I'm trying my best here. I'm glad it's useful for you guys. As a general rule, today was an exception. Although I enjoy hanging out with you guys and talking to you, I really quite like lives. It's a good way to connect, to respond to questions directly. Because when I'm doing my comments, I just don't have time. I try to respond to every comment I get, and I just don't honestly have time to do like detailed replies. And it's much quicker for me just to talk at you, basically. Yes, Gina, they do teach us so much. We are blessed to be able to. It's a privilege. You know, it doesn't sometimes feel like it when they're being all naughty, especially when you have 8 of them and most of them rescues. But it is, you know, it's a privilege to have them. So Debbie, is it normal for my cockatiel to strip the wax out of his feathers? He's a very fussy eater. So when you say the wax, is he basically cleaning off the bits when he's molting? Because they have feather shafts. So when they're molting, there are bits of like feather casing. It's basically called feather casing that they will strip off when they're molting. Or is he actually going to the base of his feathers and chewing and destroying that? One would be considered feather destructive behaviour and could be due to a diet deficiency or stress. The other is a perfectly natural thing. So it depends on what's going on there. Oh dear. Strangely enough, Adara, though, with cockatiels and budgies, it's not uncommon to have that problem. And also it can be due to other factors, but if you're keeping a close eye on them and it just seems it's just molting, then yeah. Sometimes it's over grooming by other budgies in the flock, which happen. But yeah, it's not uncommon. And you see it with whoa. She's scaring you. No, you're happy up there. You see it with various variants and mutations and all sorts of things. Even in inbreeding as well. Yeah, China Prairie's quite good. Yep, very good. Chaos is fun, your hangout, pal. Not always for me. I try my best, but chaos sometimes can be quite frustrating. So obviously, even though we don't pretend to be like the oracles of parrot knowledge, we have this sort of like expectation of ourselves that these behaviours should not happen. And lives are the time that they will happen almost all the time because obviously, you know, we can't control every factor. They're birds. They're going to scream. They're going to be noisy. And yeah, we have this expectation of ourselves and we can't help it. And sometimes we get a little distressed at ourselves. It's also the same when we have problems that try and fix other people's problems. We want to help people. And when we can't find a quick solution, like that human psychology earlier, it stresses us out. And it stresses us out even more is as parrot trainers when we have our own flock and then we can't find quick solutions. So it can be quite a double-edged sword trying to do what we do. It does stress us a little bit. Gina, I did fish to my aquariums. I was told the sales associate that pets are supposed to relieve stress, and boy, yeah, they do. They do relieve stress sometimes, but they cause an awful lot. You worry about them constantly. So to a lot of people, their pets are their children, honestly, and they're in that sort of area. And it's exactly the same. You know, I love all our birds, but I don't love the stress they cause sometimes, to be perfectly honest with you. So Picoy, don't clip your bird's wings unless it's like medical reasons. That's a very good point. I'm not quite sure why you're raising that in my live because we're definitely anti-clipping here, but thank you for that anyway. Eerie Fan Geek, I just got a new cockatiel. My last cockatiel flew out and got eaten by a blind me. Clipping. Oh, sorry, Picoy. That's why you responded to that. Please don't clip your wings on your bird's wings. It's not going to help. Yeah, so I should have read that in order. So my apologies, Picoy. That was the correct response. So with wing clipping, I'm going to try and keep this brief because it is an emotive subject for both me and Sophie. And it's one we're fighting hard to get decent information out there. Wing clipping does not help. You clip your parrot's wings and they get out. There's a good chance they're still going to get eaten by that hawk, because there's the different types of clipping, the incompetence of clipping, the fact that when a parrot has their wings clipped, they can still fly. A lot of people don't seem to, hello, Scampy. Yeah, hello. They don't seem to realise, but a lot of people don't realise, oh, my bird's wings clipped, they're not going to fly. They will, and they won't fly very well, and that can make them easy prey for predators. Say, for example, and this isn't for you, Eerie Fan Geeks, so I don't want you to feel like I'm singling you out or pointing fingers. It's just a general topic, so please don't think I'm attacking you, because I'm not. I'll use a past example, actually. It's a much better one. I don't like it because it's sad, but it's a good example. Should you take Scampy for me, please? Serious points. I want to focus on it. So a parrot owner got their budgie, a similar sort of situation, got their budgie's wing clip, and they just thought, take him out, not going to get away. Budgie flew. The budgie didn't fly very far. There was a hawk in the area, took the budgie straight away. You could argue that if that budgie didn't have their wings clipped, it would have been able to evade it, because it would have stayed low to the ground, it would have flown back to its owner. Instead, it was a mess and it got done. So please don't assume that wing clipping is the solution. So Eerie Fan Geek, I don't want to argue with you, honestly, because I feel like I'm just having a go at you, but it doesn't help. We live in a 1-bedroom apartment, a very large one, but a 1-bedroom apartment. We have hawks out there. They regularly circle. Our parrots regularly recommend. My recommendations are making sure your parrot, I presume you don't want to take your bird out. I presume you don't take this isn't something that occurred because you took your bird out. If you do, obviously training, harnesses, travel carrier training, that sort of thing. Me and Sophie live in perpetual fear of windows being open. So if anyone comes over here, they damn well know that those windows stay shut and those doors stay shut unless the birds are in their cages or contained. Bird-proof your living space. Make sure your parrot is well trained to come to you. Make sure your parrot is target trained, so if that bird does come out, they will come to you. Training will help you an awful lot. Making sure, I'm going to skip these ads because you don't want to see them. I don't want you to see them either. No ads for you. Make sure you're bird-proof, make sure your bird's well-trained, and make sure you're ultra careful around those windows, because it's even easier in 1-bedroom apartments for parrots to escape. And for anyone who's watching this, it is our responsibility. That parrot flying out that window is not the parrot's fault, it is our fault. And we've had one near miss in all our lives here, thankfully, due to this philosophy. One near miss. And Sophie, due to the way she is very stressed about that and very paranoid about it. It is up to us. And I'm sorry if that's not what you want to hear, and you want to hear that wing clipping is a solution, but it's not. It causes so much more harm than good. So you can do what you want. I can't tell you what to do. But in my recommendation, I wouldn't clip the wings. I would just be more cautious and do lots more training, because it's going to be better for your parrot and it's going to be much happier.
Lots of really good advice coming in the chat, everyone giving their thoughts on how to prevent escapes and things.
So let's talk about something a bit more lighthearted. We are our worst critic. It helps sometimes. It helps us strive to be better, but it can be harsh, because we have to be understanding to ourselves as well and compassionate. For example, here's a good example of it. I am quite a whinger. You may not see it online a lot, but I like to whinge. Adara has probably seen a little bit of this because I've been quite salty about certain bad companies and stuff. But we need our stress releases, and I accept that parrots are difficult. Sophie doesn't quite agree with this because she's very emotional. But for me, I like to say my parrots annoy me. I like to say that sometimes we have too many parrots. Doesn't mean I ever want to get rid of them, but for me, that is useful because I accept that fact, and then I can move on from it and be like, you know what, I'm just going to make the best of it. But you have to be compassionate to yourself as a parrot owner as well. So your hangout pal, it's just awesome. I prefer the wings as well. Seeing our birds, Oliver's wing clipped, and just seeing the joy it brings her now when she flies with Charlie. Hello again. Do you want to go in the eye? You want to go in the eye. That's why you want to come. Oh, you don't. No, you're not going at that. Not going at. It's a lot of joy, and I think the small minuses just don't justify it. Rhonda, that's a fair. I'm not going to read it out because I think they've read it, but yeah, that is a fair assessment. But it's one that I don't use very often because it's difficult. Two-door rule's a great one. Screens are extra barrier. Reinforcing a lot of stuff is great. A great advice here. I'm not gonna sort of call out. Good job, guys. Carrie, 20-year-old McCourt, never flown. I've made the mission flight train. Also, we want to see your progress. So I don't know if you have Instagram, because obviously you're not on Discord. Do message me how you get on with it. I'd love to hear it. It'd be great to sort of maybe if you had a little channel for it or page to show his like journey. It'd be really nice to hear. Do you want to see Connie Cuddles on screen? Just a little break.
Scampy.
Yeah, these guys are so cute. I love it when they sort of sit on me or Sophie and just cuddle. One of the things that I find most relaxing about owning parrots, because we talked about some negatives quite a lot. That's quite funny as well. But is when they want to sit and sleep and cuddle. I love just sitting, the boys sat on my shoulders, opposite shoulders, cuddling and fluffing up. That brings me a lot of joy. Pickles when she sleeps on my head. It brings me a lot of joy and relaxation. I love it. Picoy, I have a very old cockatiel and he hates veggies and fruit that I put in his bowl. He only ever eats seeds or biscuit treats. He's like 11 and he hasn't been eating much. You could get him a vet checkup, obviously, if you want to eliminate that. But diet conversion can take quite a lot of time. And if he's old and he's used to that, that's what he's going to favour, because that's what he's used to. If I had a diet of fish and chips for most of my life and someone said to me, eat a salad, I'll be like, I don't know what that is. I don't really want it. It tastes strange. I want something different. So be mindful of that. I've got videos on it. Sophie's done a video recently about diet conversion. My best advice for it would be perseverance and keep trying little ways. For example, little kebab skewers. Herbs are a very good diet conversion tool because they may nibble on it, and then once they do that, they'll sort of go further. Recall's great, and yeah. Thank you, Iri. I hope I didn't make you feel attacked there. That wasn't my intention. Obviously, it's just a lot of people have strong opinions on it. Scarlett, hello. Thank you for all the great videos. My new green sheet conure will step up good, but will refuse to step off. How can I fix that? Do you say step up to get to step off also? So you can do it in one of a few ways. You can make it a complete behaviour when you're training it. So he steps up and then you pop him straight back down and reinforce it, or you can make it a separate behaviour. So they step up and then you train the step off separately with a reinforcement. Make sure you're reinforcing that step off. I wonder if I can just demonstrate it briefly as well. Where's the treats gone?
Oh, I popped them back because the scamper was raising them. But reinforce what you want to see more of. So
let's see if we can demonstrate if Pickles is willing. She's quite good at this. So yeah, as you can see, Pickles steps off perfectly there. Just try and take this way so people step up. So I've reinforced Pickles for stepping up there. Okay. So Pickles, I'll give her a moment to finish her treat. Step off. And then you reinforce that basically. So it's as simple as that basically. You reinforce her for stepping up, or him, and then you reinforce him again for stepping off. And then the more you do that, the more consistent it'll be, because you're basically reinforcing what you want to see more of, which will be stepping off. Being honest with your own feelings is important, Adara. I'm trying to be more honest. I've been denying my whingy nature for quite a while, trying to suppress it. And the problem is, not to go too much in our personal life, I don't really have anyone to complain at, and that's a problem. So Sophie has to bear the brunt of it. I love watching birds fly as well. Parrots on wheels. It's really cute. Thank you very much, Adara. It's much appreciated. We know you don't have a lot, so please don't make it a habit, because obviously we'd rather you spend it on yourself and your birds. But thank you very much. It's much appreciated. Well, I hope you saw that, Adara, because I know you said you just had to leave. But bye, and I'll say thank you Discord later maybe. The dance is cute. Naughty girl on her way out. But yes, I'm struggling with diet conversion. They've been on all-seed diet for ages, ignore everything else. It does take time. It does take patience and time with diet conversion, sadly. It's one of those things with how long is a piece of string. So just keep trying and try the techniques that we've mentioned in our videos. Just keep working on it, because it is worth it overall. I used to get into arguments about it. I can't be bothered now, honestly, about people who say, well, my parrots lived for centuries and all they've eaten is seed. And it's like, well, burgers. Yeah, it's going to happen sometimes. You will have parrots, they'll be fine. It's like, you see old people who have been drinking and doing other things and they're fine. You have aberrant statistics. But as a general rule, having a healthier diet is better, and your parrot will be better for it. You should see the feather. One thing I've noticed as well recently with our own flock, especially the rescues, the feather condition. My God, when I just glance at them, how shiny they are. And that is from the diet, the much improved diet. I really wish I'd taken before and after photos. No, I'm not trying to assume you're arguing. I'm just maybe being over apologetic, because I don't like people feeling attacked. I don't, because obviously not everyone, for a lot of people in the world, wing clipping is completely normal, you know, and just because I have a view that it's not normal, I obviously express that. And wing clipping for like 50% of people probably think wing clipping is completely natural and normal. It doesn't harm the bird. So, you know, that's it. I don't want anyone to feel like I'm just having a crack at them. Smitter, would love to meet you guys live at any chance before I fly out. Great listening. So I'm glad you seem seem better. Need pet video on pet sitters. Do you have one? I kind of do. I have a video on going on vacation, which covers some of those topics. We don't have much time. Most of our time is dominated by dealing with these guys, trying to actually get work done, our normal day job, you know, consults, and then trying to find time for ourselves, trying to find time for other stuff, trying to find time to work on our mental health as well, because that's a big issue for both of us, and improving it due to a lot of past trauma and horrors, which we don't like to talk about, which we don't really discuss openly. It's just a lot to do. So we just don't have much time, and we don't have much energy, honestly. We're just trying to find energy out of nowhere. It's like, you know, digging deep to find the energy to do all this stuff.
But equally, keep an eye on our socials for announcements.
Yeah,
of things that may be happening.
Yes, there will be announcements of various things. We do try to put there for. I can understand how it would, Rhonda. A lot of things make me sad. I don't really do crying, but a lot of things make me sad in the parrot world. Most of the time, it seems to come from TikTok and Instagram when I see things that make me want to facepalm, or people message me things I want to facepalm, which I don't read up because I don't want to shame them. And I just try to tell them, please don't do this, or please do this. And it's like, whatever. Mr. Ting, you get the shiny feather praise. That's really cool. I like the shiny feather praise. I want to see everyone with that, honestly. That's why we fight hard for diet conversion. It is a bit of a battle, especially with the whole pellet debate. And we have other influences which are making that more difficult for us. But, you know, it's like, again, I assume when I talk to someone, not that they're stupid or ignorant, I assume that person just hasn't heard what I have to say, and that I need to try and convince them of my argument, my opinion, rather than just attacking them. And I find when I have that mindset, it helps me phrase things in a much more productive manner, because a lot of people aren't stupid. Well, actually, a lot of people are stupid, but a lot of people aren't stupid when you're discussing with them, and they will listen to what you have to say and they will take it on board. It's just, you know, the different opinions and different educations, and the way you're fighting against convention. And when you're fighting against convention, the way things have been done, it's a very difficult battle to fight. Any other questions? So I'll be wrapping this up in the next 5 minutes or so. So if there's any other questions or anything anyone's burning to ask, please feel free. We need a summit, less and more Voltron. Well, again, stay tuned. I can't talk about it today because I'm not really in the mood, but we will discuss about that sort of stuff.
There will be something, so keep your eye on all our socials, community tab, both of us, we will be talking.
Scampy's nodding emphatically.
You know, there's a thing about being frisky with toys. Don't say the M word, because YouTube won't like it, by the way, on there.
What word? I'm of course not going to say that word. I try and avoid those words anyway. Hope you didn't pick up whispering that. So Anna, I have a bird, and when we got him, he only wanted to eat seed. Now he's eating so much veggies. Awesome. Yeah, it can have an impact, really big impact. It would be nice, Gina. I mean, we want to meet your pets as well, because you've got quite a menagerie growing, and it's really cool.
These cuddle bugs, ugly snugs.
There's nothing wrong with being emotional. I just don't really do it. I suppose that's not really. I suppose it's a typical male thing. If you want to go into those sort of politics, I'm not really. I've been taught not to be like that. So that does get sad. I don't like that sad side of it, because it's bad enough trying to help people in the educational part. When you add the sad part of it, it makes it even more difficult. So I actively avoid that sort of thing, because it just makes it more difficult to do my job. If someone comes to me directly to help, yeah. Otherwise, you know. Yeah, we do have videos, Gina, to help out. I don't know if I missed something here. Maybe I missed a comment or something, but yeah. So guys, we're approaching sort of the end of the live. So any burning questions, any other comments? You can bring Pickles and Scampy over for a minute or so people can see how cuddly they are and how cute.
Premium Pickles and Scampy content.
Pickles.
P. You buggly snugs. Snuggly bugs. So what are you doing to me?
Yeah, it's hassling her. Notice how gentle she is, even though when she's like, I'm not really sure what you're doing.
I'm getting excited because Daddy's talking.
Right, so this is not the topic I wanted to finish on, Gianni, but it's going to be one I'm going to have to finish on, because this one does get my goat. So let's move the little ones away. Sometimes wing clipping is needed. It's just to humble a bird who is flying around attacking other birds who are out. My agenda at times will do this. So no, let's put it plainly. No, you don't. There's no humbling of parrots. That bird is not flying around attacking because it wants to dominate them. It doesn't need to be humbled. It is doing it because there's a behavioral cause for that behavior. Even with humans, when you see aberrant behavior in humans, there's reasons behind that, behind criminality and all sorts. But that's not my department. I don't give a crap about those people. That's someone else's problem. I care about the parrots. So that parrot is probably doing it for a very good reason. It's either hormonal, something has been encouraged in the past that is doing it, its territory is not being respected. There is so many reasons behind that sort of behavior. So Jenny, I would strongly encourage you to not see wing clipping as the solution to that issue. I would look at the behavioural causes for that behaviour and fix those, because then your Gen Day will be happy, the rest of your flock will be happy, you'll be happier, and in general, everyone will be happier. Clipping is the last place I would go to solve a behavioural problem. If there's a behavioural problem, clipping, absolutely not. No way. I can't say.
I think you didn't get emotional.
because we've had so much of it recently, it just drives me nuts. It's not a behavioural solution at all.
What would solve it? Booking a consult with Best Behaved Birds.
Oh yeah, you can book a consult with us and look into it. So Eri, one day I would like to have a bird aviary. If you've ever been to San Diego Zoo, Devon,
I want to just butt in here real quick. That's my favourite zoo exhibit in the whole world, is that aviary. I've been there and I love it.
I've never been there. I've seen photos. It would be awesome. Basically, you've got a similar goal to us. One day we would like to have an aviary or multiple aviaries for all these rescues, all these neglected budgies, cockatiels that no one gives a poo about. We would like to take them on and run a rescue centre for them, would rehome some, and the ones that couldn't be would just let them live out their lives in an aviary with other birds happy. That's our dream. It probably is not going to happen, especially if YouTube has its way, because none of our content ever gets recommended, but that's what we want. So you've got a similar dream to us, and we hope that you achieve your dream as well, honestly, because it's a good one to have. And our birds can, yes, because of hormonal, yeah, that it can improve. So Gina, parrots don't rationalise situations like we do. Clipping will not help the situation. No. Clipping will cause more behavioural issues most of the time. Yes. I just want to clip my bird's wings because I'm scared of them getting eaten. So Eri, we understand your position. It is dramatic. It is scary. It is traumatic. It is sad. It is all the things that you don't want to happen. But I would argue that the solution isn't the clipping, honestly. To be perfectly honest, it's the training. It is the you and your son getting experience with basic security protocols. It's like, for example, if you have a dog, and I know some people will say they do this anyway, but you don't let a dog just run loose on the street. This is achieved through security protocols. But anyway. So Jenny, again, if that's working for you, that's working for you. But honestly, I would argue against it, and I would explore other options in the future. I can't tell you what to do. I'm not your boss. I'm not going to be arrogant enough to say, I say this and you're going to do it. But do consider other options, honestly. Or at least maybe working on it slowly while the wings are clipped with the training, because maybe over time you'll see an improvement. With regards to clipping in general, medical reasons only, as someone rightly pointed out in the comments. Right, so let's give it like a minute or two, and I'll have to go because I'm overrunning a little bit. If there's any last minute questions, now is the time. If I don't have a question next minute, I'll be wrapping it up. Your Hangout Pal, again, a lot of people, you will see a kind of mirror of my views on this, because I think a lot of people who watch my channel share my views on this. I have had discussions about it in the past. I try to avoid them. I will take the time during a live, but often if people comment me about it and say, do I recommend it? I just say no, because I haven't got the time to get into the debate. People ask me to do a video on it as well, which I probably will do eventually. But again, I'm not really prepared for the hate I'm going to get for it. Honestly, like other people do, I don't really see the need. Why should I get hate for something I know is wrong? And, I'd rather convince people slowly and hope that eventually me and other people chipping away at the education on it will help. But yeah. So Jenny, please, again, like with Eri, it's not an attack, it's just my opinion. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't make you feel awkward or anything. So just to wrap up, if you're just joining us live, thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate all of you for taking the time to watch. It does help the channel, and it's nice interacting with you and talking about it. I'm also especially pleased about how the chat has been decent with these difficult topics. We've had a lot of strong topics today, and none of it has resulted in any issues. So thank you all for being very polite. Carrie, Thank you very much, Carrie, for slipping that in there right at the last minute. It's
Very
much
naughty.
appreciated. Very naughty. Save some of it for your new parrot because we want to know all about them. So we appreciate all of you for joining us. It's much appreciated. And again, for having this reasonable conversation, because that's the sort of conversation we want to have. We want people talking to each other, not attacking each other. Pickles agree strongly with that. We want everything to be as good as possible. I'm glad the live settled down a bit. Everything's very quiet now. It's nice and calm like it normally is. Don't forget to do your research, like Rhonda said. Don't forget to watch other channels. We're not one of these channels where you say, come to us for information. Get your information from loads of different sources. Explore loads of topics. Me and Sophie are actively researching and training ourselves. We don't think we're at the pinnacle of our education yet. We want to improve. Everyone can do that and enjoy. So again, thank you very much, Carrie, for being naughty right at the last moment. Thank you very much for all of you for joining. And me and Sophie hope you have a really awesome day and weekend. Oh, and please do. It would, Carrie, honestly, just before I finish, I hate social media, honestly, but I sort of realised necessity for it to do what I have to do. Please do. If you do, let me know so I can follow it. I'm sure everyone else will want to follow as well. But yeah, thanks very much for joining us, guys. From Sophie's just off screen, Pickles and Scampy. Take care, and I hope you all have a really awesome evening and day. See you later.